A blockbuster trade is incoming as we have multiple updates surrounding this Miami Heat organization and players they could be targeting in a major blockbuster multiple team trade that could take place any day now. I'm here to break down a brand new article that suggests that the Miami Heat are very much shopping this offseason and could get a lot done in one major transaction. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Heat Digest. But first, please do remember to scroll down and click that subscribe button. Help us get to our new goal of 3,000 subscribers, as over 80% of you guys watching this video are not currently subscribed to the channel. We do appreciate the love and support, so thank you guys. But now, let's get to it and break down how this multiple team blockbuster trade could actually come about happening in the coming weeks. Now, the Miami Heat have been involved in a bunch of different free agent conversations as well as trade targets this offseason for good reason. Pat Riley, at the end of this last regular season, quote, he did not want to run it back. He wanted to fully reset. He wanted to go into next season feeling fresh, build around the guys that we all know and love in the sense of Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and even some of the young guys that we saw him not want to give up, as well as the draft compensation for players like Kevin Durant. But it looks like players like Andrew Wiggins, Terry Rozier, and Duncan Robinson could be the key pieces to a multiple team trade that could bring two brand new faces to Miami that could fully revamp this franchise. So I don't have the actual cover photo of the article, but I will say it is tagged down in the description like it always is. This was written and published on Clutch Points by the one and only Brett Siegel, someone we address and cite on this channel so very often, as he has all of the good insider information, and he's been very consistent in the last couple days breaking news about this Miami Heat organization. So not much has changed regarding Kuminga in the upcoming free agency period, despite the constant readaptation of his situation being rehashed and reported. Siegel would go on to say, when the Warriors season ended, all conversations were where this organization would go in the offseason revolved around what would happen with Kuminga in restricted free agency. Around the time in May, as reported Clutch Points, the Heat, the Nets, and the Bulls were named as three prominent suitors for the young forwards. Conversations we discussed on this channel ad nauseum since May up until now, as we're going into the month of July. Although the Heat and the Bulls are still right in the mix before the start of free agency, the Sacramento Kings have seemed to substitute themselves in place of the Nets as a prime Kuminga destination. Sam Amick of The Athletic was the first to report on the Sacramento Kings entering the mix for the Warriors forward. So, to break down these quotes from Brett Siegel and quotes that he cites from Sam Amick, the Heat still remain in the tops of a possible suitor for Jonathan Kuminga, but the Sacramento Kings seem to take the number one spot over the Brooklyn Nets, so that three-team race between the Sacramento Kings, the Brooklyn Nets, and the Miami Heat still seems to be very, very much alive in the sense of teams going after Jonathan Kuminga, or at least being very much involved in the conversations in what it could possibly take to acquire the young, promising forward this offseason. Now, Brett would go on to say the bottom line is that Kuminga is a restricted free agent after the team extended the $7.9 million qualifying offer to him on Saturday, and the Golden State does have some control over his future. Kuminga, as expected, won't be accepting this qualifying offer and will meet with other teams interested in him, in addition to the Warriors during this free agency period. So we discussed this in a previous video on Heat Digest, discussing the Jonathan Kuminga situation and how he is a restricted free agent and how the Warriors aren't simply going to let him walk. Teams are going to have to do a sign and trade in order to get their hands on someone like Jonathan Kuminga, because the Golden State Warriors are fully aware of what they have in their hands in the sense of who Jonathan Kuminga really is. If you look year after year, he has gotten better and better, and you have to realize the situation he has been put in. He's been playing in Golden State behind players like Steph Curry, as well as a bunch of very, very good others, where he hasn't been able to be the main guy out in Golden State. Then obviously Jimmy Butler comes to town, and once again he has to take a back seat to another forward type of player. But then, when Curry goes down in the playoffs and you watch Jonathan Kuminga really be handed the keys to the offense and told, we need buckets, we need some form of offensive production, Kuminga is the first guy to answer the call. If you look at the last 4 games, this was in the playoffs. Yes, he did have a dud against the Minnesota Timberwolves with 7 points, and the overall shot production wasn't there, 2 for 5. If you look at the following 3 games, 18, 30, 23, 28, and the shots go way up, and the efficiency also goes way up, shooting right around 40 to 45% in all of those games where he was very, very productive in the sense of putting the ball in the basket. Jonathan Kuminga is just inches away from being a star player in this league. If you watch him play the game of basketball, specifically on the offensive end, he is filled with talent and has all the capabilities to be a 3-level scorer on the professional stage against anyone in the NBA. The only question is, where is he going to fit in? Where could he possibly land this offseason that could unlock all of his talents? Now, I personally feel like Miami is the number one spot for young players in specific to come and really just unlock all of their abilities, mainly because Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra have established this culture as well as this overall coaching mentality that things just work. They do. Regardless of the situation that the Heat find themselves in, they just configure a lineup and they go out there and they are gritty and competitive. Yes, I know the season did not end the way we all wanted, and we got absolutely destroyed in the first round of the playoffs after getting through the play-in for the, third consecutive year. Getting Jonathan Kuminga could be a substantial piece to this Miami Heat offense and can really diversify it, and it would be exponentially better than if they would have given up all the assets they would have had to in order to get someone like Kevin Durant, a much older version of someone like Jonathan Kuminga. I'm not saying Kuminga is going to be a multiple-time scoring champion, win an MVP, be a key piece to a championship franchise like Durant was to get over players like LeBron James and others in the league, but he could definitely be a helping, contributing piece at a very high level to a Heat team to at least get through the top half of the Eastern Conference, if not fully developed, to push them all the way through to the NBA Finals, playing alongside, remember, Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo and Kel'el Ware and these other really, really good stars that just need a little bit of help, a little bit of pressure taken off of their backs by just having some more offensive support, and Jonathan Kuminga could be exactly that. So how could we see Kuminga land in Miami? Well, Brett would go on to say, could there be a path to a multi-team trade or sign-in trade involving Kuminga, Wiggins, and Bobby Portis between Golden State, Milwaukee, and Miami? While this is purely speculation in terms of a trade scenario, there is a path that could financially work for all parties. The Warriors have made it clear that they want to maintain financial flexibility moving forward. Keeping Kuminga would come at a significant cost for Golden State, as he wants a deal that pays him over $30 million per year. Now, obviously, the Golden State Warriors want to maintain financial flexibility, as all teams definitely want to do that. The Miami Heat, as we all know, are sitting in a very interesting spot financially, with two very large contracts going forward, and then a third being Andrew Wiggins that looks like it could possibly be moved this offseason, if not in the coming weeks, something we've discussed on this channel in the past, just in the last week or so. As Wiggins is a good piece, he's a former number 1 overall draft pick out of the University of Kansas, and he's been an athletic wing who can do both things on the offense and defensive side at a pretty good clip. Now, is he going to be the star player on a championship team? No, he is not. But he could definitely be a very good complementary piece. And again, he has great defensive capability because of the size, the length, and his ability to move laterally. This is a big, big piece that could be involved in a trade conversation. Now, does it seem like he will go back to Golden State? No, but that's where this third team comes into consideration, and specifically the Milwaukee Bucks, as they seem to be one of the possible suitors for someone like Andrew Wiggins as they are trying to rebuild their franchise and not lose their franchise in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, Brett would continue on saying, it is unknown what this scenario would look like at this time. With that said, it's highly unlikely that Andrew Wiggins would be sent back to the Warriors in a potential sign and trade involving Kuminga and the Heat, sources said. Miami continues to search for the trade market for upgrades around Bam and Tyler Hero, as they've made Wiggins available in trade talks. There are a few teams existing as potential suitors for Andrew Wiggins, including the Los Angeles Lakers. The two teams have spoken about Wiggins, yet there aren't any indicators that the Heat and Lakers are progressing on a trade involving the former first-round pick. So the Lakers seem to be a possible suitor despite the conversations happening. Nothing seems to really has gotten the ball rolling in the sense of there's actually trades being thrown across and actual ideas of a trade possibly happening involving Andrew Wiggins, this Miami Heat organization, and the Los Angeles Lakers. But here come the Milwaukee Bucks. Another team that has expressed a level of interest in Wiggins is the Milwaukee Bucks, sources said. As they continue to seek improvements to their roster around Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Bucks are exploring opportunities in a trade market and free agency. Teams around the league, including the Warriors, continue to monitor Bobby Portis's availability. I will say, if there's a trade scenario where the Miami Heat, and this is where things get a little out of hand in the idea of the trade idea and the trade speculation. If there's a way the Miami Heat can send players like Andrew Wiggins, Terry Rozier, and Duncan Robinson, and possibly even a Jaime Jaquez Jr. or a Nikola Jovic to places like Golden State or Milwaukee, and possibly a fourth other destination, and Bobby Portis as well as Jonathan Kuminga can land in Miami, this will be one of the greatest off seasons since the Big Three was established in Miami. I'm not kidding. Bobby Portis could not fit into Miami any better than any player currently walking around the association. And you may be thinking, Houston, it's Bobby Portis. What could he is a hybrid power forward. You can stretch him to the 5. You can put him at the 3 in certain situations. He is dominantly a power forward, but the brand of basketball that he plays, he's not scared of anybody. He will defend against anybody. He will get in anybody's face, and he's a nuisance, and he's a pest, and he's a bully, and it's exactly what Miami could use. Not as someone in starting minutes, bearing a freak injury to a star player, obviously, but Bobby Portis coming off the bench could give this Miami Heat organization phenomenal minutes as a defensive rebounder, just a defender around the rim in its entirety, as well as the ability to step out to the wing, as well as behind the three-point line, and be competent and be respectable out there. Offensively, he's going to give you a handful of points. He can knock down an open 3 like we saw this past year in Milwaukee, but also around the basket, he has the ability to finish physically because of the size and the stature he maintains, and he's also not scared of any contact. This guy would be a phenomenal pickup for the Miami Heat. I think this guy could be a part of this Heat organization for the next 2 to 3 years and be a substantial piece going forward. The problem is the contracts and the financials that go along with this. It's going to take a lot of teams. It's going to take a lot of moving assets, and it is a home run of a stretch for this Heat organization. But if Pat Riley is actually not asleep this offseason, which it doesn't seem like he is, re-signing De'Vion Mitchell, having a great NBA draft like we've seen in the past years, if he can continue this streak of making moves and doing things productively for this Heat organization, I cannot wait to see how this all plays out. Let me know down below, what are your thoughts and opinions on the Miami Heat possibly acquiring players like Jonathan Kuminga as well as Bobby Portis, and possibly doing it in one massive trade. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest.